All right, folks. Welcome back to Voice Global Fireside Chats. This is Pete Erickson. I hope you're enjoying the conference. Our next conversation is with Paul Williams. Paul is the GM for Product Management and Growth at GE Lighting. And he probably has a little story to tell us about just how much increased use they've seen in their products here in the last 3 months. But before we get into that, Paul, please say hello.
Hello, Pete. Thanks for having me on the show. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to talk to everybody today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And I know that you joined us at CES this past year. And who would have known that that was the last conference I would be attending for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I had no clue. If my former self had only known. So
Right. I know. And here we are. So, well, thanks for joining us. Paul, tell us a little bit about your role at GE.
you bet. So my role at GE is I head up product management and growth, as the title suggests. But really, myself and my team, we really look at to see what's going on. What are the trends that are happening? What does the world look like? What's the competitive landscape? And then from there, we come up with great product ideas and then foster those ideas all the way through product ideation, through manufacturing, through engineering, manufacturing, out into the market. We watch them where there are little babies as we watch them out in the market and how they're performing. And then, unfortunately, at the end of that process, you have to say sayonara to them at the end of their life cycle and replace them with other new ones. So
right. Well,
never-ending process.
That product life cycle.
Yep.
So, well, how have you been doing? I see you're at your home there, and I believe you said you're in the Ohio area. But how's it been going since the lockdown and the work from home thing at GE?
So it's been interesting. I would say that it was a big learning experience for us, quite honestly. We've had to rethink about how we interact as teams. I'm on video calls nonstop. That was like a rarity. Occasionally you'd get on a video call. You might share your video every once in a while. It is quite nonstop. I'm on camera almost, 10 hours a day. It's crazy. But what it's really forced us to do is become a lot more communicative, whether that's through email, text, online, through conversations, because we don't have that social interaction where you just walk into somebody's office, have a quick conversation, and then move along. We're having to force those conversations to occur. That said, though, I think we've done a brilliant job of being able to be productive. I think that the interesting part about this, and I'm hearing this from other teams outside of our company as well, and some of the vendors and others that we interact with, is that some companies are finding they're actually more productive in this time period, which has been an interesting, probably the most surprising thing out of this is that this productivity, which is, I look at that as a two-edged sword. I think it's good and bad. We've got people that are spending a lot of time interacting. Like I said, I get up, I'm on, I'm off. You don't have that commute. You don't have I entered a building, I exited a building. So you have these natural start and end points to your day.
Right.
Your day just spreads out through the whole day.
Yeah.
And I'll find myself at like 9 o'clock at night going, what am I doing? All right.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And so I worry about burning folks out too.
Yes.
We're very productive, but I worry that people are becoming a little too ingrained in that. And we've got to find this life-work balance, right? So
yes, I certainly would agree with you there. And I think that I saw a report that on average, the average person is working 3 hours more per day. And so, the burnout is real. And I think it's really hard to take time away when you're at home all the time. So, speaking of home, your products are smart home products, right? Tell us a little bit about some of the core products that you manage.
Yeah, you bet. So we started off with smart bulbs. So we had smart light bulbs. We had a soft white A19. It's your classic shape of light bulb. It looks exactly like that right there.
Right.
And then we have a tunable white that allows you to adjust the temperature or Kelvin rating from 2000 to 7000 Kelvin. We have a full color bulb that has 16.5 million colors. I didn't count them myself, so I'm relying on
that's a lot of colors.
A lot of colors.
Right.
And then we have strips that are also full color as well, light strips that are LED light strips. We started there, and that's where we kind of start with the smart home and trying to make sure that we had all the right products, all the right solutions there. We then released a line of switches. And so what we looked at is there's an opportunity here for us to have smart switches. So this would go in your wall.
Yep.
I would take out the existing switcher dimmer that I had in my wall in my house, replace it with one of our switches and dimmers. And now that entire light system becomes a controllable feature. I can automate it based on time of day. We have some that have motion sensors. This one does. That's built in, so I can make sure that I have occupancy sensing. If I've got an armful of groceries and I'm coming into my kitchen area, I can make sure the lights turn on. But when I leave, they go off. Takes care of that age-old problem. Yeah, I don't know how many times you walk into rooms that lights are on, and nobody will ever fess up to the fact that they turned it on. But who knows how long it's been on? But
My kids are 8 and 9, so
you're going through that all day long.
A lot of things. Need the automatic flushing toilet. Let me tell you. Tell me about usage since the lockdown. What have you seen since since we all had to stay at home?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. So, and big thing is how that space has changed for the average consumer and for the homeowner. Is you've really changed from this place where I woke up in the morning, I had breakfast, maybe I had it in the car on the way to work. I left work, I came back, I had dinner with the kids, I played around with the family a little bit, and then I went to bed. And that was it. Mm-hmm. Today, that space is not only serving that functionality, but it's become our primary education space. So we're using it education space. We're using it for entertainment. So where I could go out and go to a movie or take kids to other places, I'm now using that home for all of these additional things. And we've changed that work from home. In fact, a big marketing campaign we did was on life from home, LFH, because your entire life is now spent in your home and around your home. Right. And so what we've really focused in on is these changing habits and behaviors. So what has been more important, and one of the things that have really resonated with consumers, is the healthiness of lighting. And now that you're spending the time under it, there's a lot of research, which we've done a lot of, and we have a lot of external research that we've brought in that really is, and it's a message we've told before, but it's not been anywhere near as important as it is today, which is this circadian rhythm and the ability to adjust lighting through the day to serve those different needs. In a morning hour, I want to have more blue in the light or a higher CCT rating so that I can get alert. I quit melatonin from being produced so that I'm alert, I'm awake. And that would also go for kids that we're trying to get around it with a lot of confusion going on. We're trying to get them around a table or around a countertop to be able to work on their homework, and having that light that allows them to be more alert is certainly a big part of that. But conversely, I also want to make sure I can get them wound down by the end of the day so I can actually get them to bed. And so then in the evening hours, introducing or taking the blue out of the lighting, introducing a lot more of those yellows and oranges into the color, the lower CCT ratings, I can start melatonin to be produced and create this environment where people are becoming sleepy and get better sleep, quite honestly. And we can automate that. That's the other cool part about it. As a consumer, I don't need to think about it. It needs to be at 4,000 CCT right now, or Kelvin right now, and then I need it at 23 when I'm going to bed. You don't need to think about any of that. We can automate that whole thing. And that's been a big thing for a lot of consumers.
That is really eye-opening for me. I have to tell you, we have some smart bulbs in our home and we use them here and there, but I guess I never really thought about the opportunity to really create that smart life home. And really help us manage through this, because like you said, it's everything's happening here throughout the day, and having the benefit of light to really help and guide us is something that I don't think I really considered as a consumer. So this is very eye-opening, and I think I'm going to be changing my behavior and getting online and ordering some products.
You should. It's very noticeable too.
So you've noticed a change in
absolutely. Yeah, you can feel it while we were doing it before, because I wasn't under those lights all day long, right? I'd go to office space, I'd go outside, and lots of stuff going on. I didn't really notice as much as I have noticed it when I'm confined to the space. Right. Now that I notice that in the mornings I've got it in this ultra bright mode so I can wake up. I feel more in the mornings. I'm feeling really woken up and ready to go through the day. And then as I get into the evening hours, we wane that off. I'm getting better sleep. It's interesting.
That's great. That's great. So it's a little different from caffeine than herb tea. I love the idea of lighting. Well, that's very cool. What have been the biggest surprises for you related to what's happened over the last few months? Is there anything really stick out for you?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is it's interesting what we're seeing, and also from the research that we're seeing too. People have put a lot of work into nesting, into upgrades to their home, to renovations that they probably had put off or weren't even thinking about before. And part of that has really resonated into the smart home. And how can I make the space be more intelligent? How can I make it work for me? How can I simplify the things that are going on in the house? And so for us, it's I think one of the surprising parts of that, along with all the other things that are going on in the world that are surprising about it. But in the home itself, it's this nesting capability. And so, companies that are big box home improvement centers like Lowe's, one of our partners, they've had this massive boom in the folks going in, paint, doing new upgrades, adding new cabinetry, all kinds of stuff that's going on, appliance upgrades. That it's been interesting to see different parts of the industry adjust.
Right. Well, it has been interesting. It's a fascinating time, and so many leaders in this industry are really at the forefront of like what's happening right now. Would you have any advice before we wrap up here? Would you have any advice for folks that are maybe new to the industry or want to get into the industry? Would you have any advice for them today?
Yeah, I would. I think the big part of that is it's for me, it's always start and end with the customer. If you don't know who your customer is, if you don't know what they want, if you don't know what they need, if you don't know what they do, if you don't know what's motivating them, you're not going to develop successful products and solutions. And for me, it always starts there. And you cannot do enough research into understanding customer behavior and understanding how they think, where, and what they're doing. Because that's really where the genesis of product ideas come from for us. Quite honestly, we just talk to a lot of people. We get research, we talk to folks, we understand, and then we test. It's like get the information, get your thesis of what you believe is the product you want to build, or the solution you want to build, and then test it. Test the heck out of it. Go find out how people think about it, and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot of things. You'll find out that your baby, in some cases, isn't as pretty as you thought it was, and you can work on making it pretty or better. There's some things that you learn in that process.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. GE Lighting knows me very well because they know my kids really need to be to sleep by 9 o'clock, and these light bulbs I think are going to help. So I'm going to go out and make that purchase, Paul. So you've made a sale today. Nice job.
Excellent.
Great chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And
really appreciate it.
To all our viewers out there, enjoy the rest of Voice Global. My guest has been Paul Williams. He's the general manager for GE Lighting Products and Growth. And Paul, thanks so much.
Thanks again, Pete. Everybody stay well.
Okay.